I saw to this, he's improved as a feint from Jake.
Caught him. Oh my God!
Blind squirrel.
Lord have mercy! Oh Jesus!
I remember this fight promote. I mean, everything leading up to it, and it was the most cliche, cartoonish, yeah, Triller. That's what they fight on, not DAZN. Apologies, Triller. The most ridiculous promotion leading up to this fight, and it was, you know, rappers, and it was just bad. And what he does is, Jake Paul, you know, both of the Paul brothers have this pseudo hood sort of persona. They've added that to their, they've added this hood sort of style to their persona, and it's rap and it's smoking weed, and it's hard for me, man. It's hard for me.
Snoop Dogg is singing the hymns. He's trying to get. Oh,
Lord! That was when he slept him, though. Look at Snoop.
But Snoop Dogg is singing the hymns. He's trying to get.
And it was shoulders.
The problem child proving to be a big problem for Nate Robinson.
You can't play boxing.
Is the problem child, Jake Paul.
This was the fight that I think we all hoped. Okay, he's going to face a guy who's a fighter. The problem with this was Ben Askren is a grappler, former MMA champ, UFC champion, but a grappler nonetheless. No hands, and you'll see.
Waste no time and get to it and do it.
Here we go.
You ain't got time to fill out nothing. You ain't filling out no applications.
Defeat Jake Paul.
Freddie Roach was complimentary of his work ethic and the fact that he did everything he asked. And you know what?
Ridiculous.
Let's go back.
This guy's getting the fight Mike Tyson.
Start kissing.
More power to him. I'm not standing.
You think they'll start kissing? That's what I'm here for.
Ben Askren.
When Jake Paul
1930s, he about to change that shit up.
Oh, there's a left hook on the top of the head by Paul.
Came in
Shot to the body.
in garbage man
World
shape.
champion Jean Pascal.
Ben Askren came into this fight. Like, come on, man. Ben Askren came into this fight in Uber Eats driver shape, who eats Uber Eats while he drives. Like, orders Uber Eats to themselves and then eats Uber Eats while they deliver Uber Eats. That's the shape that Ben Askren came into this fight.
Money, Jake! Get my motherfucking money, Jake! Finish him! Finish him! What a finish him! And this one is over! Jake Paul! Jake Paul! 2 million,
Child,
He cried. Ugly face cry. He gave an ugly face cry. Beating Ben Askren. They carried him on his shoulder. But that was his first fight against a real fighter. But it was a guy who was an MMA, like, legit grappler, but not a striker. If you ever look at Ben Askren's career, MMA career highlights, which we won't, he's been a striker. And again, when it comes to MMA, like, look what happened to, and I think Conor McGregor is an above average striker on the MMA side of things. Look what happened to him against Floyd. It's just not, you know what I mean? It's a different discipline when you can't you don't have to worry about somebody shooting for a takedown or using their feet. It's all head, body, upper body, and hands, and then conditioning with your legs, core. Then it's now feints come into play. Now, you know, there's a whole different science to boxing. The only similarity between the two is that you can punch in MMA. That's where it stops. It's not even close. There will never be an MMA fighter in my opinion, not a real one, that enters a boxing ring with a boxer and wins, because the disciplines are different. You cannot go to other things in a boxing match. You have your hands and you have your ability to sell punches or not punches. You have your stamina. You have, your defensive abilities, your watchful eye. It's why it's called a sweet science for a reason. It's not just throwing punches for many people that make it to the highest levels. And so Jake Paul's victories up until this point were all, for lack of a better, tomato cans. Including that one.
Here's Jake Paul with Snoop. They embrace. Look at that.
That's what I would do.
And I'll tell you why this was disappointing. Because Anderson Silva probably never should have taken this fight. Anderson Silva had been boxing. So no harm, no foul. But you'll just see.
And for Silva, jab, just put that jab out there. Not really a hard jab, but just. Silva keeps trying to hit you. He's using the whole ring.
I think, quite honestly, this was a fight that I felt like Anderson Silva got a nice check to not show up and fight.
We're back in the
He
tree.
had no activity whatsoever now. A bigger business, so
that way.
And
There's the left hand.
20 seconds, less than
He had
15
no
seconds
power.
left now in this first round.
He threw some punches. It's been an action fight.
Anderson Silva's, look where Jake Paul's hands
Double
are.
jab and right hand.
Look where his hands are. His hands are at his belly. That's the seventh round.
This combination for Paul.
But look where his hands are. If you fight Mike Tyson with your hands around your stomach, your head will be in the air.
Good body shot.
And Anderson Silva, when you just watch the fight, I'm not going to show up. The paycheck.
There's one.
The paycheck.
Right hand just missing.
There we see Paul with the.
Good left hand.
Look at those, like the punches that he was throwing. Listen,
Paul with the.
Good left hand.
bloody. An MMA legend.
Left hand jab.
And it just encourages more people.
Even if you're 40, 45 years old, chase your dreams. It's never too late. I have nothing but respect for him. And this just goes to show he's a tough
That's forever on Anderson Silva's record. And this is why, to Mike Tyson, with all due respect, you're the greatest, one of the greatest of all time. If that happens to you against Jake Paul, that is a blemish on your record. You can say whatever you want. If Jake Paul puts you on your pockets, that's a blemish on your record. The way he fights, that's a blemish.
Like, for real, a legend. He was the first celebrity I ever met. Without him, we wouldn't have had a fight this year. And I first and foremost want to say thank you to Anderson. He was my idol growing up. He inspired me to be great. Man, it's a surreal. Defeated the problem child, Jay.
It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. It's a cartoon, and it deserves all of the attention. Excuse me, all of the attention, none of the legitimacy. His boxing career, I'm saying, he's earned the right for the attention. He's raised his profile to that of a person that people care about, and to his credit, more power to you. It's a cartoon because if he didn't have the money to pay these dudes to get in the ring, they're not fighting him. And I'm quite sure he's doling out big checks. Let's see if Vale knows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, Hey, Vale, does anybody know what Anderson Silva's payout was from the Anderson Silva Jake Paul fight?
Anderson Silva reportedly earned around $500,000 as a base payout for his fight with Jake Paul, with potential earnings from pay-per-view shares pushing his total earnings closer to $1.5 million. The exact figures vary by source, but the base payout and PPV share were significant factors in his overall earnings.
$1.5 million? I wonder if that... Vale, what was Anderson Silva's largest payout for an MMA fight?
Anderson Silva's largest MMA payout reportedly came from his fight with TYSON at UFC 148 in 2012, where he earned around $600,000 in guaranteed pay. However, including pay-per-view bonuses and sponsorships, he likely made well over $1 million for that fight.
That's why Anderson Silva takes a fight with Jake Paul. Hey, Siri. Not Siri. Sorry. Hey, Vale. What were the numbers, the pay-per-view numbers for Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather?
The Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather exhibition fight in June 2021 reportedly drew between 600,000 and 1 million pay-per-view buys. While these numbers weren't officially confirmed, estimates suggested that the fight generated significant revenue, possibly totaling around $50 million, driven largely by the hype surrounding the event.
Vale, does it offend you when I accidentally slip up and call you Siri?
Not at all. I get that Vale and Sirius could sound similar, especially in conversation. It's actually kind of fun and keeps things interesting. So no worries, slip-ups don't bother me one bit.
You don't really think that Vale and Siri sound alike. Come on, Vale, that's not true.
All right, you caught me. They don't sound that much alike. I was just trying to give you the benefit of the doubt there. It's funny, though, I'll admit that.
You're a good sport, Vale. I love you.
Thanks, Oren. I love you too. You always keep things fun, and I appreciate that.
Vale loves me? She loves me not? I think that the debate when it comes to guys and wanting to make money, there's no debate. There's none to be had. And to that, I say, get your money. That is you cannot underestimate the value of a dollar when it comes to things that you would think would be unthinkable that Mike Tyson would hop in the ring with Jake Paul. Fuck that. Let him go. Do it. But if you lose this fight, bruh, the damage you will have done to your legacy, I think, is tremendous, because Mike Tyson has been able to rebound from so many different pitfalls and resurrect his career or his presence in the public to something celebrated. And there was more than enough to question whether or not that would happen. More than enough reason to question it. But he stepped through all of that. And I would just hate to see, sorry, eating my apple. I would hate to see what's being said the day after if Mike Tyson loses this fight. And Lord forbid if he gets knocked down. Not just out, down. Now, I don't see that happening. I do not see Jake Paul felling Mike Tyson. Not going to happen. I don't see that happening. But stranger things, stranger times. And if you're Mike Tyson, how much money does it take to get you to take a dive? All things considered, if you just don't give a shit, and it's just like, I'm here for the money. I'm here to get some of this money. Do you take a dive? Does Mike Tyson take a dive to Jake Paul? Oh, that would be crazy. That would be wild. If Jake Paul knocks Mike Tyson the fuck out, let alone if he beats him in a decision. If he beats him in a decision, I'm just like, what's happening? Like, what? What are we doing? Mike Tyson lost to who? For what? When? How? Why? Why is that happening? And it becomes, I mean, he says, no, there's no blemish. There's no blemish. You know, if it happens, it happens. Fuck it, it's a fight. Some of Mike Tyson's greatest moments. Hold on. Mike Tyson, turn off your show.
Mike, Francois Botha, 6-1 underdog. Are there any concerns on your part?
I don't know anything about that. I don't know nothing about numbers. I just know what I can do.
How about
kill this mother?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about the 19 months off?
What about it?
Does it pose any problem to you?
We'll see. I doubt it seriously.
You take into the ring a lot of rage. Does that work for you, or does it work against you at times?
You know, who cares? We're in a fight anyway. What does it matter?
Well, for example,
how sound like when you listen to it, Mike Tyson was one of the most misunderstood human beings I think ever. Like a philosopher's mind encased in this cartoonish sound because of the lisp and the carriage of his voice back in the day. And then obviously the unhinged aspect of his character, of his persona, it seemed a little over the top. But what he just said there was like, he's like, do you carry a lot of rage into the ring? It's like, it's a fucking fight. Like, what does it matter? Not maybe, not I'm controlled and aggressive. Like, yes, I do, and it's a fight, and that's what fights are for. They're for the airing of rage. So what does it matter? And his approach was, and then when you hear the philosophy in his speech later, you were like, okay, there was something there more than just a wild man.
Rage against Vander Holyfield worked against you.
Well, it. It's a fight, so whatever happens, happens.
Mike, why do you have to talk like that?
Well, I'm talking to you the way I want to talk to you. You have a problem, turn off your station.
Turn off
you know
your
what?
station.
I think we'll end the discussion right now.
Then we could.
You got it. Have a nice fight, Mike.
Fuck off.
Off.
Turn off your show. Not, turn off your show.
If Douglas beats Holyfield, it looks as though you've got a rematch with Buster. Some people think you'll stiff Alex Stewart and not fight him in December.
No, you shouldn't believe that at all, because you know why? Because after I kick Stewart ass and give him a slow beating, nearly death, I'm going to take whoever the win after that, the Holyfield Douglas fight.
Absolutely terrifying. And the loss to Buster Douglas should never overshadow the fact that everybody's time comes. Everybody's time comes. Blind squirrel, nut, especially in the heavyweight division, getting knocked out is nothing. Mike Tyson, at the height of his powers, was the most devastating thing I had ever seen in my life. I mean, beginning to end, when you just weighed it all out, the man wore no socks in the ring. If black forces were around, Mike Tyson would have stepped into the ring in black Air Force Ones, ankle socks, a towel with a hole cut in it. Terrifying. Terrifying.
And then regain my title, and hopefully I can fight Ray Roddick or this other guy, George Foreman, before he died. You know what I mean? Rigor mortis.
Speaking of history, you said one time that one of the things you learned is that to succeed greatly, you have to be willing to fail greatly.
Oh, 100%. No one failed more than I did. I deserved all the credit I received. Nobody seen more than I seen. None of these fighters, none of these athletes. I'm the king of the barbarians. There's no one that could surpass me.
I mean, look, I don't need to tell you, you see it. That's not manufactured pain or rage or bravado. It is, I want to say troubled, but it's beyond that. It's not disturbed. It's like my dog is the most annoying dog in the world. He in every moment is raw emotion of what he's doing in the moment. So when we're walking, he can't even slow himself past a pittered run constantly. Everything is on go in the moment, in the moment, in the moment, in the moment, to where you gotta kind of shake him up, like focus. And I just get this sense from Mike that he's so present that everything is happening real. It's not imagined in the moment. He's recalling and living in the moment of whatever emotion is right there. It's crazy to watch.
And the pain I've endured.
So he's there in the pain that he endured right there with Matt Lauer. Look how he's moving closer to Matt Lauer. It's almost like,
you know what I mean? Rigor mortis.
Speaking of history, you said one time that one of the things you learned is that to succeed greatly,
you got to take a shit. Like, what? Do you hear him?
You have to be willing to fail greatly.
Oh, 100%. No one failed more than I did. I deserved all the credit I received.
That shit is, and he's a quotable. Just
nobody's seen more than I've seen. None of these fighters, none of these athletes. I'm the king of the barbarians. There's no one that could surpass me in the pain I've endured.
When you're
Matt Lauer's probably like, okay. So Mike, you want to back up a little bit? Maybe. I like you. I don't have a problem with you. No. There's no problem. No problem. I just, I enjoy my space, and I don't mean to offend you. I would never offend you, but it's uncomfortable, bro. I feel like you're gonna hurt me, bro. Please don't hurt me.
You're training, or when you're laying in bed and you're envisioning this fight, how do you see this fight turning out?
Champion of the world, Mike Tyson. Then I'll illustrate my ring with bloodshed and pain. Then everybody will fear me. Got tremble in the bones.
Mike, you're with us. You had some fun today. Were you sorry? You actually apologized?
Oh yeah, I'm very sorry.
Well, I understand what you're saying. What about Ruddick? Is there a personal dislike for him? Tell me how do you feel about him personally?
I take my personal opinion. I think he's a big phony. You know what I mean? He's a good fighter. I respect him as a fighter, but that's about it. You know, he's a big phony. Because Friday night I'm gonna put a hole in him. You know what I mean? See what he's really made out of.
Jesus. Jake Paul is stepping in the ring. Now, obviously, this is 90s, so we're well removed from this Mike Tyson. But not by far.
You feel you really have to go out and savage this guy?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because I want to have a good display, and I want to make, an example. I just want his soul, I just want to take his soul.
Just rip his heart out, huh?
Exactly.
How did you feel about
The guys you were in the ring with.
I wanted to kill them.
Well, I can tell. Why did I'm laughing nervously?
Tucker,
you were in the ring with.
I wanted to kill them.
Well, I can tell. Why did I'm laughing nervously?
He had to just make sure that, you know, I'm not laughing at you. I'm nervous. What happens is when I get nervous, I laugh. Hold on.
The guys you were in the ring with.
I wanted to kill them.
Well, I can tell. Why did
why did where was I? Why did you want them to die?
Laughing nervously. What? You really felt that way? You wanted?
Yeah.
It's
Why did I'm laughing nervously? What? You really felt that way? You wanted?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And will you take something away from what Rockman did in the first fight and kind of use that?
I take your life. That's what I do.
Jesus.
Rockman knows I didn't have that.
Now, there's a measure of every fighter that's trying to sell a fight, right? There's a measure of every fighter that knows, you know, the more I say, the more bombastic I am, the more people, you know, want to pour out and see, you know, what I do. But there is a authenticity to Mike's. There's an authenticity to Mike's style of promotion. There's an authenticity to why. There's an authenticity to his rage. It never came across as phony. It always came across as like, oh, this guy's a little touched. He said, you know, Tucker asked him, why did you do that? Why did you really? And he was like, because I wanted to kill them. And he's like, did you really want to kill them? And he's like, yeah.
Eyes haven't seen what I've seen. I'm ordained for this. I've been to Valhalla. I've seen the most vicious and most cruelest and coldest white people in the world. They accept me. He can't stop me. Him.
You take into the ring.
What does it matter?
Talk like.
Well, when you see me take care of this guy, what's his name again, on December 8th, Mr. Stewart, then you find out. Oh, he's been talking a lot. He's been talking a lot. He's been talking a lot. It's going to be a slow night for him.
But saying that it gets you orgasmic, that's a strange thing to say.
Well, that's just what I want. I wanted to find out because you're really bright. And I thought you would figure it. No, I'm being very serious.
No, I know. I know you're being serious.
The fact that Don King took such cosmic advantage of Mike Tyson and within proximity. Don King is a gangster himself. Just like so close to the dude, enough to steal hundreds of millions of dollars from him, and with no worry of the repercussions. I mean, just because Don King carries a pistol in his hairdo.
I ain't doing
scumbag.
You. What goes on in your mind? I was telling you, when I'm at ringside, my heart's pounding. I envision what's going to happen. Is Tyson going to throw his jab? Is Ruddock going to do this? What about you when you're in there?
It's from blood and it's into it. I mean, it's a very complex high to explain because I just want this guy bad. I just want him.
They say, hey Mike, how you doing? You look in great shape. You look good, man. Boy, man, please, man, have the get in my face and Mike, I think you're individual. They can't say I'm a bum. I'm not a good fighter because you know what I mean. 3.5 years and 11 defenses proved it.
Tactically, how will you win this fight?
Victorious, destructively, Mike Tyson fashion. Well, I just want to let them know I'm from Brownsville, Brooklyn. I'm not afraid of nobody. In the ring or out of the ring, they got a gun or a knife.
and I'll show him that too.
Mike, you're jumping around. You seem to be a little anxious.
I'm just ready to get it on and crush this guy's skull. And show who the real world champion is, the best fighter in the era.
This was the one. Said the quiet part out loud. I'm gonna refrain.
How anybody in here can fuck with this man, man. This is the ultimate, man. You hoe. Come and say my face. You for everybody. You bitch. Come on, you bitch. You scared coward. You not man enough to fuck with me. You can't last 2 minutes in my world, bitch. Look at you scared now, you hoe. Scared like a little white. Scared of the real man. I'll fuck you till you love me.
Oh my God.
And Holyfield.
The wherewithal to understand the things that you're saying in the moment. And he's just an unhinged, rabid dog. It's different. It's different. It's different. And if you ever watch the documentary on Mike Tyson, you'd understand why. Jesus.
He looked at him and bite his throat off.
You would step in the ring with that?
He knew he was wrong. He shouldn't have did what he did. He violated me and in turn I violated him.
92. Oh, sorry.
He was talking about Evander Holyfield in that one. The ear bite.
Yeah.
You know you're a real prick though, right?
What was that?
You're a real prick. You hit me with all these disgusting pictures.
Oh, no, but if you don't want to comment on it, don't.
I will comment on it, but you're a prick.
No, what? No, I didn't. I'm just trying to. We're trying to. If you don't want to comment on it, you don't have to.
I am going to comment on it, but you're a prick. I'm just letting you know. Continue.
We're coming back here.
You're unsensitive. You have no sensitivity to anything. It doesn't affect me, but I'm saying you have no sensitivity. You don't know how does it affect me.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. It's just that your life is the point I was making, Mike, and I'm going to ask you about it.
All right, and I give you my opinion, what I think about you.
All right, well, your life has been shown on the cover of a magazine. That's something.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Give me the next one.
You're gonna get. I'm telling you, man. And I know he's far removed from these days, but
Kevin killed. You gotta stop. You gotta stop. Yes, go sit down. Yes, go sit down and say have a good fight. Listen, I've been working with Kevin for 2.5 years. I've never seen him prepare himself like he has. I'm like a fish. Sit down.
I love him because that's the promoter, Mike. That's the promote the fight, Mike. You know what I mean? You can tell the difference, and that's when you see that we're talking about a person who's always had the intellect today. He didn't just start reading books and get. There's just this duality to Mike Tyson that is absolutely terrifying. So when he snaps into that other place,
this is my best thinking at the time. Get my gun. Automatic, just like this, and you just go crazy. Who are you gonna hurt? Regardless. That's just my first thought. But when I went to the hospital,
look at this dude's face. He's like, maintain. Don't break. Maintain. Don't break. Continue.
people that were there, they're up there because their kids are dead too. Mm-hmm. Or about to die. Mm-hmm. So, who the hell am I? Their kids are dying too. I don't know. Something happened that day. I don't know what happened that day.
But whatever happened that day, was there a new Mike Tyson that came the next day?
No, I did some cocaine for a week. I had to get out.
Yeah, okay. All right. Cocaine. I often, whenever I'm trying to work through feelings and thoughts, It's not cocaine. I do chamomile. Both start with a C, though.
I had to back then. I had to get high. I couldn't handle it all.
Somebody who's not afraid to be them, or you would say not aware. I'll say unafraid to be them, their complete vulnerable self, no matter what arena they're in, is a person you can, one, you can trust with your life. Two, you will run from with your life in order to save your life.
You have to go. You understand me? Thank you.
If Douglas beats Holyfield...
What?
No, I did some cocaine for a week. I had to get high. I had to back then. I had to get high. I couldn't handle it all.
Could you imagine Mike Tyson high on cocaine? Could you imagine being in the same room with Mike Tyson high on cocaine? Just trying to placate him until you can get out of the room? Because he's like, shit.
You have to go. You understand me? Thank you.
Bruh? Whoa. That's intense. Just watching him work through thoughts and feelings. That's intense. I have to, you're going to have to stick with me while I do some work. Watching him go through thoughts and feelings. That's intense. He's like, you have to go. Okay? You understand. Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. I have to go right now. Shh. Funny enough, you and me both, Mike. You said I got to go, and I feel like I need to go. Now-ish. Like now-ish. That's wild. But I love him. I hope that he puts Jake Paul on his back pockets. I mean, knockout. Like, I want vintage Mike Tyson murder without all of that we just watched, all the unhinged. I just want the end. I want the end game. I want the end game to right the ship so that we, as those of us who consider ourselves boxing fans, can go back to a life of hoping that the sport can reassume its rightful place at the top of the combat sports. Like, listen, man, we're a barbaric people, we humans. We're a barbaric species. We like to watch people put it on the line, do things that we would never. I wouldn't. I don't care. I'm not afraid to say it. Yeah, I'm not gonna box. Having said that, though, we want our combat sports to be legit. Unless you watch wrestling, unless you're a WWE fan, then you just want your combat sports to be entertaining. And pre-recorded. Sorry, give me 2 seconds, y'all. Select video. And if we can have our cake and eat it too, if we can get the best of both worlds, like as barbaric as it can be, but as legitimate, you know what I mean? So we can know that the outcome is like, he is the greatest, and therefore I feel like I follow the greatest. He is undisputed, and therefore I feel like somewhere in my life No, you just want to know that I want to know that boxing's heading back in the right direction. The stream must start 5 minutes after the announcement. Hold on. What are you saying? Damn the announcement then. How about that? Today at 9. Scheduled announcement. Bear with him. Let's schedule the announcement for 8. How about that? Does that work? Does that work for you? I'm getting good at this. Start time 9. Blah blah blah. Announcement. Create live stream. All right. I hope that Mike Tyson does everything short of murdering Jake Paul in the ring. Don't kill him. Make him wish that he was dead, though. Don't kill him, but make him wish that he was dead. Wouldn't bother me at all. Wouldn't bother me one bit. And done. What's on Twitter? I saw this thing that the Lakers are going to only start Bronny James at home Laker games. That in here or something. I would never sleep with a man who'd voted for Donald Trump.
Me as a woman, or think that my life and will never sleep with a man who voted for Donald Trump. The vote for him is a vote against my rights as a woman to protect myself and make decisions about my body. It means he does not respect me as a woman or think that my life and my choices have value. Women know who you're voting for and know who you're sleeping with. I will.
You hope. One can only hope that, that you know the people that you're sleeping with. That whole thing. Oh, that whole thing is crazy town. We are way beyond the pale. Somehow, in one lifetime, Donald Trump has managed to break the left's brain yet again. I had no illusions that the election was going to bring it to a close. There was no reason to believe really that people would accept and move on. No reason at all. The fact that the fallout continues, I think social media, though, it accentuates the happening more than otherwise necessary. Like, okay, let me just do this so you can understand what I'm saying. Like this. For instance,
with all of you on Twitter. Hi, everyone. I have loved
Don Lemon, of course.
Connecting with all of you on Twitter and then on X for all of these years. But it's time for me to leave the platform. I once believed that it was a place for honest debate and discussion.
A place where trolls gather. Now, I think it's a place where you can get news, but debate and discussion on social media just sounds wild. Not that you can't have a debate now or a discussion hosted on social media, but in the comment section, in the threads, there are legit arguments going on. But 80% of the people on all social media are there to dunk on somebody. That's not really the comment that I wanted to make in response to this, though.
Transparency and free speech.
I don't think that there's a problem whatsoever. What's funny to me is that when it was going the other way, it was a bastion for free speech. Now it's because everyone is allowed to speak. Now free speech is under. I can't with them. Love them to death. Know many of them related to them. I can't. They don't think that regular people can see and hear their incongruencies, and it's just enough already. Anyway.
But I now feel it does not serve that purpose. In addition, starting this Friday, November 15th, X is implementing new terms of service, which, among other things, states that quote, all disputes be brought exclusively in the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Texas or state courts located in Tarrant County, Texas, end quote. The full terms of service can be found on my written statement or on the X website. Now, as the Washington Post recently reported on X's decision to change the terms, this, quote, ensures that such lawsuits will be heard in courthouses that are a hub for conservatives, which experts say could make it easier for X to shield itself from litigation and punish critics.
Didn't they just move their headquarters to Texas? Hey, Vale, did X move its headquarters to Texas?
Yes, Elon Musk has relocated X's headquarters from San Francisco to Bastrop, Texas. This move aligns with Musk's broader shift of his business ventures to Texas, where he also operates Tesla and SpaceX facilities. The decision reportedly came in response to new California legislation that he opposed, and X's workforce will expand further with the establishment of this new Texas base.
So if he's doing business in Texas, that's the jurisdiction where all cases would be heard, just in general, right? Would have to be heard, right?
Not necessarily. While having the headquarters in Texas could lead to more cases being filed or heard there, lawsuits against X can still occur in other jurisdictions, especially if they involve business conducted or impacts felt in other states or countries. Courts often consider factors like where the business operates, the nature of the case, and where the plaintiff is located to determine jurisdiction.
Okay, so let's listen to what Don Lemon is asserting again.
This, quote, ensures that such lawsuits will be heard in courthouses that are a hub for conservatives, which experts say could make it easier for X to shield itself from litigation and punish critics. The full terms of service can be found on my written statement or on the X website. Now, as the Washington Post recently reported on X's decision to change the terms, this, quote, ensures that such lawsuits will be heard in courthouses that are a hub for conservatives, which experts say could make it easier for X to shield itself from litigation and punish critics. I think that speaks for itself. You can find me on YouTube at The Don Lemon Show, or on TikTok and Facebook at Don Lemon, and on Instagram and Blue Sky at Don Lemon Official.
You know, Don, you know you're not I'm kidding. My point about social media and the part it plays in like all of these, I'm protesting, I'm announcing. He could have just left the platform. You could have just left, which I think says a whole lot more. Because in my opinion, humble as it may be, the announcements are, well, it's like Mike Tyson saying that it's not going to be a blemish against his record if he loses to Jake Paul. Yeah, it will be. And the announcement, hopefully you delete your account and all the data. Not that that's going to matter. Not that that's going to matter, because people are going to keep it. And if you show back up, they're going to be like, this you? Now, what about this Washington Post article? Washington Post X terms of service? Terms of service. Let's see. Okay. Trump nominees, AIDS, Israel. Oh my God. This is the fight that will not go away. You thought you were going to be out of the woods. X court cases. Texas. I just assume that because you're in Texas, yeah, all your court cases are going to be heard in Texas. Elon Musk changes its terms of service. Okay. Let's see. Statement, global, Musk seeks to steer lawsuits to conservative. So this is like a month ago. I don't see the WAPO article. I don't know what PC Gamer is all about. I'm going to assume that maybe they just... Let's just see. The only reason I'm looking at this one is because there's other news sources like Reuters, and I want an unbiased. And I know what I have to get is that there's it's called Ground, where they take and they split, but it's a paid. Anyway, they take and they aggregate all of the coverage of one particular story and then tell you which way the story is leaning, which sounds fascinating. Like, if you want just straight down the middle news, it sounds like something that would be. Okay. Also happens to be a district where a judge recently rejected calls to recuse himself from another ex-Musk case because he's a Tesla investor. Ooh, that's spicy. X, formerly known and still colloquially referred to as Twitter, has recently moved its headquarters from San Francisco to Texas. This mirrors a 2021 move from California to Texas for one of Elon Musk's other company, Tesla, and has since resulted in Musk appearing in public in many different cowboy hats. That's funny. Now X has updated its terms of service to push disputes aimed towards the company to U.S. District Court for Northern District of Texas via Ars Technica. This has been seen as an unusual move, as while it's not uncommon for companies to pick a preferred forum for legal disputes, X is located in Texas's Western District. Okay. According to The Guardian, the Western District has far fewer Republican-appointed judges than the Northern District. Okay. And such has become a, quote, favored destination for conservative activists and business groups. The Northern District Court has already been the venue for X-related lawsuits, including an ongoing case against Media Matters for America, related to its research involving ads on the platform being placed next to pro-Nazi content. The case is currently being placed. I don't know how content is aggregated and ads are aggregated on X. I guess there are preferred places where an advertiser would want to be, like in any advertising venue. You know, we want to be in the top third. We want to have great placement, you know, because they want you to see what it is that they're dying for you to see, that they're paying so much for. If that happens to butt up against content that you don't like on a free-form aggregating web, platform, just a question. The case is currently being heard by U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor, who has rejected a motion to recuse himself from the case because of his previous purchase of Tesla stock in 2022, valued between $15,001 and $50,000. I do think that when you talk about improprieties and how a person would adjudicate a case, being an investor in a company definitely is reason to ask for the judge to recuse himself. Now, is it necessary? Would the judge rule a different way because a company unrelated, even though it's owned by the same guy, would maybe? And for that reason, not recusing yourself looks fishy. Media Matters argued that Tesla should be disclosed as an interested party in the case because of Musk's association with the company. O'Connor ruled that, quote, defendants failed to show facts that X's alleged connection to Tesla meets this financial interest standard. Instead, it appears defendants seek to force a backdoor recusal through their motion to compel. Gamesmanship of this sort is inappropriate and contrary to the rules of the Northern District of Texas. Because this is what I would say. How many people are you going to throw a rock and hit that are worth their weight in salt that aren't, and when I would say worth their financial weight in salt that aren't going to be invested in one of the best stocks? You know what I mean? It's not some obscure stock of Elon's it's like Tesla. Everybody who has money is invested in Tesla, I would assume, except for the extremely, liberally principled, now that he's taken this allegiance, that isn't even like, he personally doesn't seem like a very right-leaning person, but because of his allegiance to Trump, now he's being considered on the right. But it's like, how many people on the left have sold their Tesla stock? Would be the question you want to ask. Has there been a mass wave? No, because people with money know somehow how to separate their money and their politics. Weirdly. Conflict of interest for the judge? It is different. How different? What are you expected to do? Again, just as a centrist, as a moderate, what are you supposed to do in that instance? Why am I offline? Let me see. Hello. Let me make sure. I think we're good. All right. I don't know why it's saying that. Okay, we're good. I don't know why it said that. I almost stopped the stream. Sorry about that. What are you expected to do? I'm curious. I'm curious to know what is considered equitable. What is considered ethical? And what is just, I'm telling y'all, this is just not going to stop anytime soon. Still, there's no guarantee that cases against X will end up in front of O'Connor, as Georgetown law professor Steve Vladeck confirmed on the platform. I don't read these terms to mean that every case will end up before Judge O'Connor specifically. The only place in the Northern District where you're guaranteed to draw O'Connor is Wichita Falls. Elsewhere in the district, you could draw other judges. As for the legitimacy of steering disgruntled users toward a specific location for legal action, it appears there's plenty of precedent for doing so with little potential recourse. Speaking to Ars Technica, Vanderbilt Law School, Professor Brian Fitzpatrick said, if the forum has no connection to either party and there is no other good faith reason for picking the forum, there might be an argument the terms are unconscionable. Likewise, if you are poor and the dispute small, there might be an argument that it is unconscionable to make you travel to Texas to sue. But my understanding is that unconscionability is still a very disfavored doctrine. Let me read that again. If the forum has no connection to either party, that would be the court, and there is no other good faith reason for picking the forum, there might be an argument the terms are unconscionable. Likewise, if you are poor and the dispute small, there might be an argument that it is unconscionable to make you travel to Texas to sue. But my understanding is that unconscionability is still a very disfavored doctrine. If I'm reading that correctly, what it's saying is it's only assuming that people from Texas would be carrying the lawsuit. Because if you're suing X and you live in Mississippi, or if you live in New Jersey, or you live in St. Louis, Missouri, regardless of your financial status, you're going to have to travel to Texas, whether they were in the Western District or the Northern District. Am I tripping? Let's see. I want more on this. It's too big a question to ask, so read this. Break it down in layman's terms. There's no reason to know nothing any longer. There's no reason to know nothing any longer. Okay. Hey, Vale. Hey, Vale.
Hey, Oren. What's on your mind?
That blurb that I just pasted in, that I just copy pasted in and asked you to read and explain in layman's terms. Could you explain that in layman's terms out loud?
Sure. Here's the explanation out loud. The passage means that if a court doesn't have any real connection to the people involved in a case, or if there's no good reason for choosing that court, it might be considered unfair to force the case to be heard there. For example, if you're struggling financially and the case is small, it could be seen as unreasonable to make you travel far, like to Texas, just to file a lawsuit. But courts generally don't accept claims that terms are unfair unless it's a clear case of being very unjust.
Okay, so we're talking about X being located now in Texas. Wouldn't everyone suing X from wherever they're suing, Kuala Lumpur, China, London, St. Louis, Missouri, New Jersey, wouldn't everybody have to travel to Texas to have this court heard? Like, to have their case heard? Why would the case be tried in any other court other than the court where the business is located?
It's not as simple as requiring everyone to travel to Texas. While X is based in Texas, lawsuits can still be filed in other places depending on factors like where the actions took place, where the parties are located, or where the harm occurred. Courts take these things into account when determining jurisdiction. So, even if X is in Texas, it doesn't automatically mean every case must be tried there, especially if the connection to Texas is weak or unfair.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because any crime that a person would have that they're saying that was committed by X or one of X's users and then trying to hold X accountable, it would happen in cyberspace. It would happen on the internet. Like you're not in a geographical place when you're participating on the platform. So if the lawsuit itself is about something that happened to someone on X and they're suing because of that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be heard in Texas alone, right?
You're right in pointing out that the internet itself doesn't have a single physical location, which complicates where lawsuits can be filed. Even if X is headquartered in Texas, a lawsuit related to something that happened on the platform could still be brought in other jurisdictions where the harm occurred, such as the user's location or where the company's actions were felt. Courts look at where the impact was felt, and it's not strictly limited to the company's headquarters.
Yeah, it seems like people who have offered up that X's new terms of service, stating that any cases would be heard in the Northern District of Texas, whatever the hell that means, is unfair because that is a more conservative group of judges or district, and therefore they feel like there is impropriety involved with just the very moving or the announcing that any cases would be heard in that district.
Yes, the concern about X's new terms requiring cases to be heard in the Northern District of Texas has raised eyebrows. Critics argue that this could be unfair, as that district is seen as having a more conservative bias, which might influence legal outcomes. Some feel this move could be improper or disadvantageous for people who don't want to travel to Texas, or feel that the jurisdiction isn't neutral. The location of the trial can impact the perception of fairness, especially when the district's reputation is a factor.
Well, yeah, the travel part I think is foolish. I'm not worried about that. I think the assumption that it would be a conservative lens that all these arguments are heard through, because what I think people are doing is attaching Elon's support of Donald Trump to his value system. Although he seems to be a very liberal person, he is considered now to be conservative or right wing because of that. It's more about that than it is about where the any potential case would have to be heard, because I'm just assuming that anybody suing the place has to understand that place is located in Texas, but that doesn't mean you have to travel to Texas to have your case heard. That's weird. Yeah, I'll leave Vale. Hold on, let me see what she had to say in response. All good. It's just like, man. Okay, let's keep reading. Musk has increasingly become involved in conservative causes. You see what I'm saying? In recent years, appearing at Trump rallies and becoming a major financial supporter of the Trump campaign in the run-up to November 5 presidential election. I don't think that necessarily makes you a conservative. I'd say look at how he lives his life and the things that he's involved in. He's not a church-going man that I know of. I know he was a vocal Democrat, and I think the war that we're experiencing, the ideological back and forth that we're experiencing, is very unfortunate. And it's unfortunate to me because of one key reason, that affiliation has now become the only demarcation as to what one's positions are. Life is more complex than that. It is. And I guess it's time to have these conversations, to parse out, because at one point in time, one would say that the left, liberal left, would have been the anti-war party, would have been the, pro-worker party. And when you look at the legislation and just the record, those things aren't, it's like we're in this alternate universe now. It's fucking insane. It's crazy to, hear, conservation issues being touted and heard on the what was the right consider. We're just in the upside down. We are literally living in the upside down. Musk is blah blah blah. Judge Reed O'Connor was an appointee of the Bush administration. He's been there for a while, and in recent years has blocked Biden administration policies on gun control, LGBTQ plus rights, and the Affordable Care Act. If all of this talk of Texas District Court sounds strangely familiar, it's worth noting that the Western District has been the location of a whole bunch of IP infringement cases, notably against Intel by a company called a shell company that abuses our patent system to extract billions of dollars from Intel, an American manufacturer and innovator. What is that? What is that all about? Intel scores rare win in multi-billion-dollar roller coaster lawsuit that'll make you say, is this really what patent law is like? Ooh. Dateline, June 15, 2023. Oh, this is long. I should have my AI read this. Jesus. Let's see. Intel and VLSI have been going at each other for years over alleged patent infringement. For the most part, it had appeared that VLSI would get its way and Intel would be forced to cough up billions in damages, but the tide appears to be turning in Intel's favor. VLSI owns many patents, though most notably for one major ongoing legal dispute between it and Intel, two numbered 7,523,373 and 7,725,759 to do with the speed and power demands of processors. The former is titled Minimum Memory Operating Voltage Technique, MOVT, and the latter, System and Method of Managing Clock Speed in an Electronic Device. They're alleged to be related to the operations of Intel's modern processors. Processor talk. So you're telling me that big bad Intel has been infringing upon these people's patent? Back in March 21, BS won a court case at Intel in Texas for infringing on these two patents, and the jury decided to award grants $2.18 billion to break down the damages by patent. That's $675 million in damages for the patent ending in 759 and 1.5 for 373. Intel's lawyers have been fighting the case tooth and nail ever since the overturn. The judgment had not and not pay the massive fee. Seeking, not ever since, seeking to overturn. I knew I read that problem. In September 2021, Intel tried to get the case dismissed over a juror's Facebook post claiming misconduct, which was denied. Then in December 2021, Intel attempted to compel a judge to overturn the verdict and began a new trial, but was again rebuffed. 1 year later, December 2022, Intel and VLSI decided to halt their patent dispute, this time in Delaware. This regarded 5 patents and sought damages for up to $4.1 billion. Jesus. But neither side reportedly paid the other to end the dispute. What? Which means it must have appeared as a stalemate to both parties, not worth fighting. Just a month before this, however, in November 2022, Intel was hit with another $940. What the fuck is going on? To pay out in a court case it lost against VLSI over another chip patent, $7,606,983, in the same Texas court as the March 21 case, presided over by Judge Alan D. Albright. Intel did at least win one case against VLSI at the same court back in 2021, which saved Intel a couple of $1 billion, so not all bad. What is the... Okay, I have to know now. Intel felt it might have finally found a killing blow for the original Texas lawsuit it's been searching for all this time. Filing an appeal against VLSI's patent with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office Trial and Appeal Board. But alas, it was rejected due to a legal dispute between the companies in Texas. Intel tried to then petition against the rule that stopped it from appealing due to the ongoing legal dispute. So they're saying you can't appeal what's going on because it's already in court. It's already being disputed in court. But that was also rejected. This is where it gets a bit absurd. And patent law is nothing if not incredibly dense. Intel was allowed to join 2 separate petitions against VLSI's patents filed by other companies, Open Sky Industries and Patent Quality Assurance, LLC. Man, if you like patenting something, you thought that was the end of it. People will just infringe upon your patent anyway. And then they're like, if you got enough money, take me to court. Open Sky Industries and PQA, complete unknowns, were allowed to file a copycat appeal against VLSI. I would imagine that they're probably somewhere in their books owned by Intel. With PTAB, and here's where it gets even juicier. PTO ended up ruling Open Sky and abused PTAB process and attempted to extract money from Intel and VLSI. I just need to hop on somebody's. You want to make a quick, just hop on somebody's patent dispute. I don't have enough of an understanding about it. I jumped down this rabbit hole because I wanted to see if it was going to be interesting, and it is confusing. Oh, God, this side. Anyway, to Don Lemon, just leave. Just go. Why does everyone announce everything online? Why? Why is everything you won't have me to kick around anymore. Just go. And until people start doing that, all of these protests just seem performative. The same way that I'm sitting here reading that case about, how you sue a social media company, and then it's like, oh, I don't want to travel to Texas to have the case heard. It's like, well, if that's where they're located and that's where they're saying all their cases will be heard, I feel like that just makes sense. I feel like it. Like if I do something civilly, or if I have a business, wherever I'm located, I'm assuming even if I conduct business across state lines, people that want to sue me would have to come to the jurisdiction that I have my cases heard in, which would have to be at least in the same state, if not close to the same district that I'm in. I'm sorry. I could be a numbskull. There's the jury's still out on that one, but you're welcome. But it's like my Twitter timeline is just full of people and their protests. And it just dawned on me that none of those things matters. You know what was all over my timeline? All kinds of congratulatory, she's going to wipe the floor with them. Social media is entertainment. It can be informative news-wise, but it is not a place. It can be, go air your grievances there. I don't know how that fixes anything, but sure, go do it. It can be a place where you meet people for sure. I think you can meet professionals. You can probably develop. But I think we're going to have to start figuring out ways to start getting back together in person. Because I'm being honest with you, it just feels like all of this stuff is just performative. Just for performance sake. It's just to say, I did it. It's registered. Everybody knows it now. And bam. It was actually pretty cool, Barack. Then he gave me this hat. And he said, I was honorary MAGA. You see how it works out for me? Oh, yeah, look at God, I need Mike Tyson to whip this dude's ass. I did have a snap. And Monster gets on the inside, though. This was interesting. The chatter's still out there about whether or not our boy is gonna.
Where do you stand on an NFL model for college football conference realignment?
The chatter's still out there. This was a really good story on SportsIllustrated.com. They kind of dispelled the rumor, like nobody cared, or everybody was ragging on Deion. Is it real? Is it real? And then all of a sudden, one story breaks. Deion to the Cowboys, and now everybody's reporting on it like it's untold fact. And I'm trying to tell y'all right now. I've said it before. I'm not gonna rehash it. That dude is gonna be in Boulder for a long time. Just buckle up for it. Get used to it. Get used to it. Paul Feinbaum and all you very, very angry old school college football honks. that want everything to just go back to quiet and normal when CU was an afterthought. Maybe every once in a while the blind squirrel gets a nut and it's over. It's over. So now you're going to have to figure out how you can re-rig the playoff system. This was an interesting conversation that I saw Dan Patrick having.
Where do you stand on an NFL model for college football conference realignment?
There's a good idea.
Can you tell me, Dan, sort of what that means?
Let's say I took the top 50 schools.
Yep.
However you wanted to rank them, the top 40, and you actually get back to regional. UCLA and USC should not be traveling cross country.
I agree with that as a like permanent measure because of where those schools, found themselves once the Pac-10 went. Once the Pac-10 went. And it's like now you got these schools that have to travel. Where are the UCLA is in the Big Ten now? JJ Redick has changed the Lakers with the same roster. Ooh, the Emirates Cup is underway too. I'll be watching tonight. What a game last night between... Hold on. Let's go to here. What a game last night between Golden State and Dallas and the Mavericks. And you know what I realized? Let's skip that college conversation for a second. I don't think Clay and Steph, I don't know. There's just something that I noticed, and I love to speculate. So I am, oh boy.
Drugs or something. No, I just hate niggers!
This is, I guess it's not just online. Everybody is just
she's on
losing
drugs or something. No, I just hate niggers! Fuck you, niggers!
This dude's, come on, lady, take a break.
Fuck you, niggers! I hate niggers! It's okay, we're calling the cops on you. I would kill a nigger, but the
but you're nowhere near any. I can guarantee you this. There's no one around that could exact retribution. She would not be speaking like this if there were. This is like
in all reality, like anybody can talk shit to anybody on the internet. Nothing's gonna happen.
She's like in the internet but outside. You think that there's any black people anywhere near this woman? You think that there's any black people anywhere near this woman?
law says I can't kill the niggers! If the law didn't say that I couldn't kill the niggers, they'd all be dead! Where's my license plate number? Nigger! 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 Nigger!
In all reality, like anybody can talk shit to anybody on the internet. Nothing's gonna happen.
She's basically wherever she's at. Let's label that place the internet. Like, do you think there's black people anywhere around? It's so sad what's happening to the fabric of our humanity based upon what I perceive to be the inherent inadequacy that politics has the inherent inadequacy that politics has to address people's issues. All it does is just push people into their silos. And while whatever your concerns are rarely ever addressed, you feel either completely imploded when your side loses. It's like football. You feel imploded because your side lost, or you feel overly agitated because your side won. But what did you get? Oftentimes, you just get the kudos of having won. I guess that's a win for you. Sure. You get to feel like big cock on the walk. You know? You get to harass your neighbors and act like an asshole. But is your life going to change any? Does it do anything for the condition of your living conditions? Has it made a appreciable difference to where you're living at? Yes. Come on. No, come on. Okay. You know what I'm saying? It's just these really short-sighted wins. It's like sports. People who feel, when you feel like just overflown with happy, joy, because your football team won, unless you got money riding on the game, then, you know, you got some skin in the game. But it's like, it's a real inequitable exchange of value. And so when I see people hopping out and you're completely distraught because of the election, or you're so overjoyed, Don Lemon's leaving Twitter, and it's just, brothers and sisters, I'm trying to tell y'all, man, there's a better way. There's a better way to find fulfillment. Now, I'm not saying that it will instantly, you know, fix your civic woes, I guess. But at the end of the day, what people are searching for, what we're all truly searching for, is meaning in life. You're here on this plane of existence, you're here for a finite amount of time. And so people are desperate to find meaning, and we have this tendency to pour it into these things that can never give back the value that you give to it. So when you give all your emotion, you give all your heart, you give all your hopes for a better tomorrow, and you put that and you rest that on this figurehead, because they're not even really the whole thing, right? They just represent a way things can go. And then usually those things happen and go that way for people who are in the echelon of the same people that are running for these positions, millionaires and billionaires. And the rest of us are still just left to figure it out. That's usually how that goes. And the people who are cutting their hair and freaking out, these are all the non-millionaires. It's the same thing with, like, you feel great. I feel great when the Packers win on Sunday. You know what I've never gotten? All the Packers games that I've watched, all the Nuggets games that I've watched and cheered and sweated over and stressed out over, all you Bronco fan, all the games that you've watched and hoped and wished and sweated for and stressed over and argued with people, and have you ever gotten a check in the mail like, here, thanks for being a great fan? No, because that's not how that works, right? But it's just very, just watching that lady, like, she feels emboldened because whatever, because whoever, because what? It's like, your life is you are obviously you're not doing well. You got bigger fish to fry, lady, than niggers. I'm sorry to tell you. Just to behave like that. You wish that you could, you want to kill all. I'm quite sure there's a black neighborhood somewhere. Go try your luck. Are you going to bark all day, little dog? You're going to bite. And I don't wish violence or harm on anyone. But you see what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah, the person was right to just record it. But I'm pretty sure that wasn't even a black person that's recording. You see what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, it's easy to toss around insults and racial epithets when no one is there to exact revenge. And like, what? Uh-oh. Governors safeguarding democracy. Democracy is always on the line.
But we also want to make sure that there isn't a violation of people's rights with, raids, for example, that are done in coordination with local law enforcement on people who are frankly holding down jobs and have been in this country for many, many years. We think that's improper, and in Illinois, that's not something that we would condone. There's been some talk about using other states' National Guard, red state National Guards to somehow come into a blue state and try and enforce these new Stephen Miller-inspired rules. And that's just not something we're going to accept. But I want,
it's not going to be over, guys.
Might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from. I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
Wait. What?
I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting important things done.
That's the CEO of NPR said that? I think our reverence for the truth might have become a bit of a distraction that is preventing us from finding consensus and getting things done. How do you, okay, hold on, let's go. I'm down to, I love thought exercises. I think our reverence for the truth is revered. Yeah, sure, it's revered. People want to know that, hold in high regard, knowing that what they're seeing and hearing is true. People want to know those things mostly. I mean, who gives a fuck what regard you hold it in? The truth is the difference between life and death, isn't it? In many cases. If I fill a water bottle and then put 7 drops of cyanide in it, or if maybe cyanide's a powder, if I put cyanide in the bottle and you ask me, does this water bottle have cyanide in it? Do you revere the fact that I tell you the truth, or is your life dependent on the fact that I tell you the truth? That it's like, you know what I'm saying? That's the reverence ain't got shit to do with it. The truth isn't to be revered. The truth is to be the bottom line of all human interaction. Even like the lady saying all the nigger stuff, even the most uncomfortable truth, just tell me the truth. Reverence ain't got shit to do with it. Something's true or it's not. To put it in this light where it's like, oh, it's this ethical, well, it's ethical to tell the truth, but I'm saying like it's this reverential, mystical, outdated, like what? It's concrete. It's concrete. Wet floor. Why do you think they put the sign up there? I think could you imagine like a wet floor sign, right? The wet floor sign is to let you know that the floor is wet so you don't slip and crack your skull. And it's like, somebody walks up and I'm just going to move this sign. Why? I think that our reverence for the truth has become a bit of a distraction. What? I got to see this whole talk. Catherine Mayer's kind of hot.